What is it about humans that make us take on a mean and controlling streak and justify it? I do not mean the people who lack empathy, but the majority of the other souls on the planet. In communication, we see it happen all too often. There are many tactics used, and it can divide us on many levels. While one perspective, a person can be triggered, the other can feel hurt and disrespected. When we face situations that are uncomfortable, we need to ask if we lash out at someone else in an attempt to deal with our own insecurities and issues. Calling people names and trying to control the conversation are tactics. Tactics are a clear sign that we are in defense mode. Going into defense mode means that we have given up our higher cognition and lowered our frequency to take on more of an attack mode. For those skilled in negotiations and dialogue, they will see through these tactics immediately. Most ordinary people have not been taught these skills, and this is what perpetuates the cycle. It wasn't until I really wanted to understand this process and how it works that I came to understand that human communication is complicated. And this is because of our strong emotional expressions. We feel deeply. Then, we use emotions to express or defend those feelings. This is one of our greatest assets, but also one of our weaknesses. The fact that we feel is important. It means we are capable of empathy, love, compassion, and kindness. On the other hand, if we take a darker path, we are then capable of disrespect, selfishness, and predatory behavior. Balancing this is essential if we are to ever move beyond our level of awareness. When we face others' bad behavior, we must also ask what we will be in that moment. Will we use tactics back? Will we be strong enough not to take on their stance? Will we be discerning enough to see that they are showing us who they really are? And at that moment we need to reflect and see if we engage and take on that part of them. Remember that when someone attacks, they are showing you who they really are, and you have an option to either play the game or continue in your own perspective. Even if you handle yourself well, because we are creatures with feelings, we must deal with the pain of rejection. We feel this rejection because we are souls that like connection. Whenever we reach out to connect to others and feel resistance, we feel this as separation. We do not like that separation. It brings about a type of loneliness and sometimes withdrawal. When we step back and look at this type of communication, we need to be ready to understand that we must stay our own path and let go of those that choose to take on a harsh stance. Sadly, in our society, it has become part of the culture to engage in a devolved manner and even been encouraged. A great example of how culture can affect attitude is a dialogue with a few men from India. When they made corrections, they did it with such respect and kindness that you could think back and ask if it was a compliment, or were they just trying to empower you? There was no defense mode, no negative tactics, and certainly no disrespect. They impressed me. I could see why they had become successful in their ventures. They understood how to relate to others. Over the years, I have thought about these men and how they gave me an example that I have appreciated many times. It has been a contrast to the behavior I have seen in others. It tells me that there are humans who have risen above negative discourse. This idea that we are dangerous is true, but only because we have not mastered the balance of energy we exchange with others despite their bad behavior. It isn't easy to take the high road many times. It hurts, and we feel lonely. but it is necessary. Until we, as a majority, come to realize this, we will simply repeat a cycle of poor communication and keep knocking others back, or get knocked back ourselves. It doesn't serve them, and it doesn't serve us. The key is more of us need to become aware. It is long overdue for many who wish to move on to a more peaceful existence.
Why